Now that I have the Discord post up. Maddie, you're so quick today. Evening. I never know what the point of an introduction is when, you know, people haven't arrived yet, but I might as well do one in case somebody watches a VOD or something. So, as usual, hi, I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually have the opportunity to learn anything. And that's what we do here every single day, every single night. We've got some hiccups coming up, or I guess mainly one major hiccup, and that is New Year's tomorrow. That will probably not be a night stream, so I will be doing a midday stream, which is what I intended to do today, but man, some stuff just happened today, and kind of had to deal with that before I could get on, and that dragged itself out for like the majority of the day. But, you know, recovery from a slump is recovery from a slump, and you just got to take it one step at a time. That's where I'm at right now. New Year's Eve, so tomorrow night I will be busy. Happen to log on around the same time, and introduction allows people to join up at the start without people constantly streaming in. I mean, sure, but I never have anybody in here when I do my introduction. I mean, I guess I'm just getting in the habit for when that becomes a thing, and once I have a real schedule, hopefully that'll be a thing someday. I can have a real schedule, and then people can be here while the stream is booting up, and then I can hop on while people are already here. Yeah. But I figure, act like a big streamer, eventually you'll be one, right? I feel like I'm at the, like, I always, like, tell the story, like, right when I was starting up this stream, and I was listening to Parker Get a Job explain to a guy who was accusing him of being a DNC plant, of him, like, he's like, dude, I used to, like, just talk to 5 to 10 people every day, and the thing was that I did it every single day, and it would just be 5 to 10 people every single day until I took off. And I feel like that's where we're at now. Or, you know, before that, you got to talk to 1 to 2 people a day, if even. Some days you get no one. And I had a lot of those days. But now, you know, that's the second time I've talked to somebody about fake it till you make it. And maybe this case actually applies more, because most of my life I've heard fake it till you make it in response to, you know, issues that I've had with anxiety or, you know, PTSD. And people are just like, fake it till you make it. I'm like, I hate that because faking it sucks. I'm miserable and anxious and I have a really, really hard time. And a friend of mine today, we were talking about some stuff and she was like, yeah, fake it till you make it, right? And I was like, I had never really thought about this, but I think my big problem with fake it till you make it, at least when it comes to like anxiety and complex PTSD and, you know, just the regular bumps in the road of learning new things or experiencing new things, is you just have to do the thing until you have positive experiences with the thing. And that's where all the difference lies. Some people just luck out and have positive experiences and then they feel comfortable, and that being comfortable in an experience brings further positive experiences. But if you enter and you have a negative experience, then you are set up to fail further because you have a messed up nervous system and a built-in response to whatever it is you're dealing with. So fake it till you make it isn't what you're doing. You're just doing it until the positive experiences happen. Really, I have no basis really for like measuring. I've never enjoyed being in big streams because I like to engage with the streamer directly, like, you know, feel like I'm hanging out in a room with somebody playing a video game or whatever. And so I've never been one to sit in the huge streams. And so most people that I'm interacting with have like up to 10 people ever. So what you're saying is that like my followers are consistent? The people who follow streams show up more? That's cool. That tells me that the product I'm selling is one that people buy. It's people enjoy the positive energy. I want to create an environment where it's not just oh my god, the maids messed up my whole setup here. Okay, just gonna knock stuff over. Gotta get my pretty boy in frame. I think they even moved him. I think that's where he goes. There we go. Some streamers work great with a few hundred viewers, others not so well. You gotta hustle, though, with other streamers. What do you mean you gotta hustle with other streamers? Like, you're competing for the same audience? But, you know, as I was saying, I think, like, there are multiple things that I want this channel to be. I want it to be a learning experience. I want it to be an activism platform. And I want it to just be a space where people like to be here because it's reinforcing and, like, positive. As often as I can, I want it to be positive. Some people just want to be assholes, I guess, and you can't avoid it. But I will be patient. I'll be patient until it is very clear that there is nothing further that can be done with this person. Evil alien robot. Arr. Okay, so when you hustle, you got to play the game with them. You got to compete with other streamers, and you got to collaborate. Steal their audience so they can steal yours. I imagine it's even harder to collaborate with somebody who wants to stream every single day. I know, I was exaggerating. Evil Alien Robot, how are you doing this evening? Maddie, I didn't ask you. How are you? The first thing I want to do tonight, guys, is something that I said that I wanted to hop on earlier this evening to do, and that is upload some more content. So the first thing we're going to do is make a couple videos out of the last couple of streams. Good man. Good man. I feel like I had some news to share. Maybe not. I can't believe the fucking Venezuela shit. Have there been more updates on that since this morning? Let's get used to ground news with Austin. I don't want this. Blind spot, daily briefing, things I've heard about in my all the sponsored content I hear on the channels I watch. Okay, what do we got? This is today, December 31st, Wednesday? No. What? It's still Tuesday. How could you do this to me? Don't even. Daily briefing, we got Russia deploys Oreshnik missile system to Belarus. US captures 25 ISIS operatives in Syria. Tatiana Schlossberg, environmental journalist and JFK's granddaughter, dies. US military says 2 men killed in strike on suspected drug vessel in Pacific. Oh, god damn it. We're broadening our murder theater. FBI expands Minnesota daycare fraud probe after viral video. Huge right-wing reporting on this one. US and Ukraine a lot closer on peace deal, Trump says after meeting with, you gotta assume that's Zelensky. US strikes Islamic State in Nigeria following Trump's warning over Christian killings. Great. So multiple wars. We're going to multiple wars at the same time. Why did people elect this guy again? How's the economy doing? Oh, right. Bad. Oh, God. Interesting. So, bias. Okay. So I can see what the different summaries are depending on the reporting. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. military launched a powerful strike against ISIS militants in northwest Nigeria who were accused of targeting Christians. Trump stated that these ISIS forces had been targeting and killing primarily innocent Christians in Nigeria in response to the ongoing violence. The U.S. has restricted visas for Nigerians involved in violence against Christians, citing Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern for religious freedom violations. That is the real reason we got the TikTok video. Dude, I know, evil alien robot. I just got a raise. So that means things are going great. What do you mean everyone is having a hard time? I got a raise. I make lawyer money. Why isn't everyone else doing that? Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu emphasized his commitment to protecting all Nigerians from violence and promoting religious freedom. On December 25th, 2025, President Donald Trump ordered U.S. strikes on ISIS targets in Sokoto State, northwest Nigeria. So this was like a week ago? I thought I heard something about strikes in Nigeria like a week ago. So, okay, so Nigeria cooperated with the U.S. Okay, so this is not a act of war. Cool. At least there's that. Nigeria's foreign ministry confirmed cooperation with the U.S. on airstrikes, and a joint U.S.-Nigeria task force recently established includes intelligence exchange and strategic coordination. Analysts note that conflicts in Nigeria are multifaceted, driven by ethnic rivalries, land disputes, and resource clashes, while Pew estimates Muslims are 56.1% and Christians 43.4% of a population of over 220 million. Well, that doesn't really summarize who the casualties are, does it? The United States launched airstrikes on ISIS militants in northwest Nigeria on December 25th, 2025, targeting those accused of killing Christians, according to President Donald Trump. You know what's really fucking weird about this? I'm sure everyone knows what's fucking weird about this, but are we stepping in to protect Muslims being killed by religious majorities in other places? Like, say, Palestine? Weird. Weird. We don't even do that here, yeah. In Trump's economy, lawyers make more money, right? I mean, not all for bad reasons. Sometimes lawyers make more money just because there are more fights to have. So... that's the way of the lawyer world. You gotta fight for both sides, or somebody has to fight for both sides. Gone on a few Ramadan celebrations with a friend of mine who's Muslim. That's cool. I wish that I had opportunities to do stuff like that. I'm really sad that I missed out on Queermas last weekend. I wasn't in a place in my head where I could go, but I feel really at home with like my queer friends and their community. I think it has to do with being like neurodivergent. It's like I'm around a group of people who are used to being othered and being different than the norm, and so like there are no questions. Like, so that makes it really welcoming. Okay, so it's stuff like this that's interesting to me, where it's like there absolutely is no coverage by. I mean, there must be very few like reports on these stories, but like absolutely no 6 sources. And then down here, 28 sources, no left-wing reporting. Disney agrees to pay $10 million to resolve alleged child privacy law violations. Okay. Why isn't the left reporting on this? On Tuesday, the Justice Department announced Disney will pay $10 million on a stipulated federal court order in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California to settle COPPA allegations. In a federal complaint filed in California, the government alleged Disney failed to designate some YouTube videos as child-directed, enabling targeted ads and data collection without parental consent. Under the stipulated court order, Disney must establish a compliance program and review each video to ensure YouTube practices adhere to COPPA, resolving claims with court oversight. DOJ officials said attorneys from the DOJ Civil Division and the FTC handled the case, stressing that violations undermine parental control, and Assistant Attorney General Brett Shumate said the department is devoted to protecting parents' say over children's data. It's really curious that the left wing is not reporting on this. Al Jazeera. For me, Marla Maples warned Trump something was off about Epstein. There's always a cop position nearby at, like, the Ramadan celebrations. I mean, sure, but to be fair, there's always a cop station nearby at, like, church services. At least large ones. A year ago, Trump supporters were saying we shouldn't be spending any money on anything besides the American people. Yep. I mean, they still say that today. Or a week ago. The left does not have a coordinated media outlet infrastructure. Yeah. But I mean, the left still has reporting. I mean, you can just look at Ground News' split. Oh my god. Oh, one source. Minnesota Fraud Committee Chair claims Walz turned a blind eye to fraud warnings for years. Cool. Leftist independent media is pretty good besides the lack of billionaire funding. Yeah. Israel to bar 37 aid groups from Gaza. Trump does not give a shit. What does the right wing say about this? Federal court ruled that the Trump administration cannot shut down the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and must continue funding it. Wow. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson stated the administration's attempt was a transparent violation of her order. Okay. Judge Amy Berman Jackson criticized the administration's efforts to circumvent her previous court order that protects the CFPB from closure. California Attorney General Rob Bonta warned that closing the CFPB would leave hundreds of thousands of consumer complaints unaddressed. Senator Elizabeth Warren hailed the ruling, emphasizing that CFPB has returned $21 billion to consumers harmed by banks and corporations. By a summary, good job, Wright, on reporting on that story. I'm surprised. Oh, God. Former gymnastics coach Sean Gardner faced a suspension after allegations of installing cameras in a girl's bathroom surfaced in 2022, a case someone involved called Nassar 2.0. Okay, this actually has nothing to do with Nassar. The U.S. Center for Safe Sport, created to investigate misconduct in Olympic sports, was willing to impose a lifetime coaching ban on Gardner as part of a deal where he would admit to the abuse, but internal politics at Safe Sport prevented the ban from being enforced. Despite being suspended for 2 years, Gardner was able to get a job at a medical center, and Safe Sport's handling of the case was marred by concerns about retaliation, favoritism, and unqualified promotions within the organization. It's incredible to me that the world we live in still has such an issue with child abuse. There is so much that as a kid I thought we would address that I guess everything. I think what the hole in the ozone layer is the only thing that as a kid I knew about that I hoped would be fixed, and it was fixed. Nothing else has changed. Okay, let's do some work. Okay, I prepared a short. I don't know if it's finished. Oh, no, you forgot. Racism ended in 1964. There hasn't been racism ever since. So let's minimize this. Let's bring up Da Vinci. Right? Because when the law in text treats all races equally, that means all races are equal. The Congress, on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, what shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution, when ratified by 3/4 of the several states. If you're not keeping score, that's 34 states to call a convention, and 38 to ratify whatever comes out of it. And I mean whatever. Up to and including a complete rewrite of the Constitution. Heck, we've used it to make every major change to the government in American history. Women's right to vote, equal protection under the law, the abolition of slavery. Time and time again, Article 5 has taken the unrealistic and made it reality. There is no limit. The only thing explicitly protected from rewrite is equal representation of the states in the Senate. And when lawyers read law, there's a rule. The intentional inclusion of certain things means the intentional exclusion of all others. So when the founders noted only one exception to Article 5's power, the equal representation of the states in the Senate, it meant they intended the tool to be capable of quite literally anything else. And why wouldn't they? That's exactly what they were doing when they wrote it. Using a convention to factory reset their government. Maddie pointed out to me, I think it was Maddie, that I'm pinching my throat in this video. The second one. I hadn't gotten used to being on camera yet. When the founders saw that the Articles of Confederation were broken, they didn't enshrine the document as untouchable. No. They acknowledged it and replaced it with something better. And make no mistake, our system is broken. Okay, that needs a little more work before it's done. It's not even in the right aspect ratio. How interesting or fascinating is it from your perspective to apply what you know about the law through a leftist lens? I That's interesting. I see the law as inherently leftist, which sounds weird, but I see a lot of anti-legal forces that are the ones that the law is battling against. Um, the law typically has an interest in justice, and when you approach the law from law's own philosophy, that of justice and equity and restoration of damages, it tends to be left wing in nature. Um, but you have people that just try to muddy the waters and spoil law from achieving its own goals. And that's where you get the application of law to do harmful or right wing things. Um, that's like why my formulation, like even in that video where I explained my love for constitutional law, I believe law, particularly constitutional law, is a tool that our species came up with to collaborate on creating a codification of our species' best instincts. Like these are the things that we hope to achieve collectively, and so we're going to write them down and hold each other to them. It also comes off as a little, what comes off as a little, a lot of lawyers surely are right wing. Wealthy people tend to be right wing because in the classic tradition, right wing is about hierarchy. And if you're rich, you want there to be a reason why you're rich. Otherwise, being rich is at risk, and being risk is susceptible to moral culpability. So if you have a good reason for being rich, if it's validated, if it's justified, then you're perfectly comfortable being as rich as you are. So the rich not only want to secure their substitute for security, they also just want to feel good about themselves. So that's why the rich tend to swing to the right. Of course, good morals are inherently left wing. That's because what good morals have to be inclusive morals, and the only inclusive system of morality can be found on the left because the right demands hierarchies. It demands unsubstantiated, what's the word, propriety from their own lens. I think that Evil Alien Robot is just asking, like, what is it like being a lefty and a lawyer? Particularly coming from my point of view, where I have a big law background and I'm not like, and like, my job isn't advocating for justice for like the downtrodden or the disenfranchised. There are a lot of like most lefties that go into law. I mean, I can't substantiate this, but I imagine most lefties that go into law go into it for those reasons. And I would like to make a difference, but I don't want to spend my career doing that. And that's largely, I think, as most things are, driven by my sense of insecurity and anxiety. I don't feel comfortable not knowing that I have like an overabundance of security in income. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm going to die every minute. That's another thing too. Yeah, is like it is largely a nepotistic industry. Um, it is a legacy industry, especially when you get into big law. Connections get you there. Heck, I got my entrance into big law through just I like through connections, but just through like the super luckiest of connections. Like, it was not even somebody I knew before law school. UT just has a mentor program, and I was assigned a mentor. We met for lunch one time, and the guy was like, "Hey, Austin, you really impressed me. I want to try to set you up for an interview with somebody, like connections I have at this firm in Houston." Um, which was great because I was so disconnected from the goings on campus, um, because of my overbearing, um, emotionally manipulative wife at the time. I was so disconnected from everything that was happening that I didn't know anything about on campus interviews, the OCI process. And I didn't realize that I had already missed the opportunity to apply for any of the OCI interviews. And to get a summer job, you have to do the OCI interviews pretty much. Like, I'm sure there are back ways in, but if you don't do OCI, you're not getting a summer job. And if you don't get a summer job, you're not getting into big law. And so this guy set me up with an interview after one lunch I had with him. And it was like a time slot that didn't exist as an interview slot. And I just got to go in and meet these people just because. And fuck, I talked to them about dealing with a cult and hitchhiking for my whole interview. And they were like, "This is the most entertaining interview we've had all day. Like, welcome aboard." Um, and I never talked to that mentor again. Like, I tried to link back up with him, but he just never made the time for me. So I never got to. I'm super lucky, and like, this is one of many reasons that, like, I look at other people and go, I'm not special. I don't deserve more than you do. I just fell upwards my whole life. Yes, I put in the work, but so do plenty of people. Plenty of people put in the work and never get anywhere. Okay, so I want to save this one for later. This is not the "you believe in gender" debate. What? Dude. Let's come back to this one. Oh. Article 5 primer. Okay, so let's do a new project. We're going to do "you believe in gender" debate number 2. Tim? They call me Tim? Now I'm just kind of tempted to throw that clip from Monty Python in there after he introduces himself. I can't do this whole clip.
Enchanted. By what name are you known? There are some who call me Tim.
Greetings, Tim the Enchanted. As soon as I got it up there.
Tim? I'm an enchanted. By what name are you known? There are some who call me
Tim?
Tim?
That was worth it. I hope everyone enjoyed that. When I get references in my head, I have to pull them up. Look, everyone else name dropped their fraternities and their dad's place in the Hamptons and their private preschools. They're all so goddamn boring. This dude comes in and he's like, "Yeah, I went and fought an East Texas cult. Yeah, I hitchhiked for like 2 weeks from College Station to Atlanta, Georgia. And that's what I felt like talking about today." Okay, I need to download my own video first. That's what I need to do. Hope everybody is down for some very exciting video editing. Hopefully there's not much editing to do at all. No, nothing attorney. No, nothing attorney. We got, what, 3 days ago? Got our lives. No. Videos? There we go. 3 days ago. Would be willing to provide a DNA sample, though what things they consider pollutants and what things they don't. And that's what is false. And a criminal indictment in New York related to hush money. This is not the right video. 2 days ago? All over the place. Okay, this is it. Tim? I'm also really excited about making a short out of this one. You guys let me know if you just want me to skip to like getting these videos finished and uploaded, or if you also want to recap the gender debate so we can find the gold star moments. And then what's the other one? The other one is from the night after that when we went over the PragerU video. PragerU loves the unitary executive theory. PragerU loves the unitary executive theory. My heading up here, looking at how awful PragerU is with a not so exciting example. Shouldn't downplay it like that. That's so me. Up to me? Well, thank you, Maddie. I just want to know what's going to be more engaging, because I'll be engaged no matter what. I just have fun up here. Okay. First one's almost done. The PBS rebuttal to Prager? Oh, that you posted? No, I did not get back to that. Posted in, what, general? Is PBS just inherently free use? How does this work? Fair use? Thank you for reminding me about this.
Will be felt throughout not only this.
Quiet you. I'm going to imagine PBS is not automatically fair use. Yeah, I figured that was the case. Man, I wish that I could, like, I can do commentary, but like I'm not very practiced in commentary, so I don't know how well it will go. Let's try. Commentary is not really my thing. That's why the PragerU video was so different.
Mean for school districts moving forward and why critics are alarmed.
Yeah, but what about slavery?
They're lessons designed for young learners.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world.
Where historical figures
Oh my God. That is the most... I want to say it's the most atrocious thing, but I don't fucking know. It might not be the most atrocious thing. The amount of shit that they say is just insane. By the way, children, slavery has always existed and it's been done everywhere. Why are you so upset about it?
Columbus come back to life to defend themselves.
Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
Why would you want Christopher Columbus to come back to defend himself? His own son thought he was a monster. His son wrote about him using his dogs to tear indigent people apart. I don't remember if it was his son that wrote about it, but there are writings about like the indigenous people like killing their own newborns so they will not be subjected to Christopher Columbus's like reign of terror. Like, why would you want this person to come in and defend themselves? I don't even know what Christopher Columbus looked like. Not only is their curriculum inaccurate, but it's downright hateful, and they say lefties are brainwashing students. Yeah, no shit, dude. Oh, God. Like, I was alarmed. I don't remember when I heard it, but when it became a legitimate concern of the right, and when I say legitimate concern, I mean they were actually concerned about it, not that it is a legitimate concern, but when the right suddenly got actually concerned that the left was teaching that sharing is kind and that kind is good in school. What have we done to ourselves? Not only is the curriculum inaccurate, oh yeah, he literally got sent back to Spain in chains with people going, "This man is a monster." It never happened. Oh God, we're getting into the narcissist prayer.
And with the help of artificial intelligence, introduce themselves to a new generation.
No.
I am John Adams, blunt, stubborn.
Y'all don't like John Adams. John Adams is the one who signed the Treaty of Tripoli.
And the
oh, but he was also the religious nut.
The Continental Congress.
Right.
These videos are courtesy of PragerU, a
oh my God!
conservative advocacy group now partnering with the White House on a new
oh my God!
in Washington.
There is no greater call.
When is this from? From September of this year? Oh.
Calling than to teach young people.
Since its founding in 2009, PragerU has built a massive online audience with more than 3 million YouTube subscribers by creating videos
including
for
schools
both kids and adults.
The fear that fuels the climate crisis is simply not justified by the data.
Exploring topics ranging from climate change.
And Maddie, you said this video is going to get into like debunking the climate change issue? Or do I need to pause and worry about that right now? You know, maybe it'd be a fun series to just debunk every PragerU video. I'm sure somebody's already doing that. We could even like develop like their, what would you call it? Their game plan, like do a point for point game plan and show how it's applied every single time. Then how does it get cold? If climate change is real, how does it get cold?
To what its content creators deem to be similarities between wokeism and radical Islam.
Like, oh my God. When my daughter was 4, I want to say 4, there was a white Christmas in Texas, in Central Texas. And that's something that I never had as a kid. And like people like her grandparents were like, and they think climate change is real. Look at this. We've got snow on Christmas. I was like, what? How? Your sentence doesn't make sense. Your sentence doesn't make sense at all. If it's just an overview of PragerU, I don't know, like, if we can watch a whole lot more of this.
Islamists shout Allahu Akbar and death to America. The woke shout Black Lives Matter and I can't breathe.
The first thing to...
What? What? I imagine this is a video saying that wokeism is a religion. The most disingenuous shit. Oh my god. Any chance our religion?
To know about Prager University is that it is not a university. It's a conservative...
Any symbolism is religion. Taking a knee is religion. God.
activist organization that was started by Dennis Prager, who was a right-wing radio host.
Jonathan Zimmerman is an education historian at the University of Pennsylvania.
What it does is it creates video content that it's hoping is adopted in school systems.
Florida was the first state to approve PragerU's materials for K-12 classrooms.
This is going to seem very nitpicky of me, but I hate this public radio voice that she's doing, but it's not. I assume this is not her voice.
In 2023.
Inequality is a...
Back it up a little bit.
PragerU's materials for K-12 classrooms in 2023.
Inequality...
I could do a voice where I do that too. We could talk about anything like this. We're just going to really constrain what our voice is doing, and we're going to take any emotion out of it. Like, I suppose that's neutral journalism, but, ugh. Chicken wings of university. Really weird random story. Like, there was, back when I was in College Station, there's nothing to do. So, apparently it became, like, a big thing to define your personality by which chicken tenders place you liked. Was it, Raising Cane's? Or, man, I can't even remember the places. Raising Cane's. Nope, it's not going to come to me. It's not. But there were like two big chain places. Why? No, not wings. Tenders. Hold on. Wingstop has tenders. Come on. Lanes. That's what it was. It was Lanes or Raising Cane's. Lanes isn't that big, but there was one. There were a couple in College Station. So it was like, which place is the place? And on, I think it was Texas Avenue, if I'm remembering. I don't know my roads in College Station anymore. One of the two main roads in College Station, there was a Raising Cane's, a lot, and a Lanes. Just three lots in a row. And on either side of the center lot was a chicken wings restaurant, chicken tenders restaurant. And one of, like, when we were doing our business degree program, like, we had to do a big project that was like, you're going to come up with a business idea and you're going to pitch it. You have to define what the demographic that you're targeting is, blah, blah, blah. And some guys who went through that course before, their idea was for a chicken tenders restaurant. And they got so excited about their own business program idea that they decided after they graduated to do it themselves. So they opened a place called Foul Digits. and they opened a foul digits, the first foul digits, in between Raising Cane's and Lane's. And I was like, I thought you guys were doing this on the end of a business degree program project. You thought this was a good idea? That place did not last months. It did not last months. It was gone so fast. It was it was sad. It was sad to watch. But that is my very short, very uninteresting story about the 3 chicken tenders restaurants in a row in College Station for the brief time that it existed. And I hope no one has copied that business plan since. I've never been to a Publix. Never seen a Publix. Chicken Wangs. Did you guys know there is a famous a famous case that we cover in law school? It's about, I think it's a contract law case. Yeah, it's about interpreting contracts. What is chicken? And there was an entire case about the dispute about the term chicken in a contract. And that has just always been so funny to me as just a concept. And like, they had to bring in experts. And by experts, what they mean is people heavily involved in the restaurateur chicken industry in, I think it was New York City. I'm not sure. But it's like, when you say chicken in a contract, what do you expect to buy? Like, what are you expecting to be sold to you? Because there are different standards of the meat that you can expect to get. And just to have these guys go up there and be like, well, when I put chicken in a contract, I expect to get this kind of chicken. I'm just a restaurant guy, man. What is chicken? You would think it would be an easy question. Okay, so those videos are done downloading. Let's bring back DaVinci. What? It's minimized? There we go. Why do I only have one download? What happened? What is a chicken? It would be a better documentary, I'm sure. A less offensive documentary. There is an error downloading the other video. Which one did I get? Which one is done? Which one is not? Okay, well, let's find out. Amazing. Looks like I got the debate video. I think. Are we broken? No, just DaVinci's dumb. Poor Trevor. That was a really rough conversation. I wasn't sure if like I feel like Trevor handled himself all right, but like we were verging on some conversation where I was just like, I don't know, Trevor, if we should be like talking about this. I'm not sure about the status of your mental health, so I don't know if I feel okay with this. But I felt over time that Trevor was handling himself okay. And if anybody got a different vibe, I would hope you would tell me so that I know how to adjust my my vibe, my read on these things. Trevor was the formerly homeless, at least I hope formerly. I tried to get a little bit out of him to be like, are you doing okay now? Okay, trying to re-download this other video because it messed up somehow. What's going on?
Yeah, how are you? I'm good.
Sorry for the wait.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Can I get name, age, and pronouns, please?
My name is Tim.
Neil, I think any military action against Venezuela is unjustified at this time. Especially any military action taken against Venezuelan civilians. What's going on? Okay, right there. Oh God, I've already forgotten all my keys. Nope, that's not it. It's been too long since I got really used to DaVinci, and then I stopped toying around with it, and then I completely fell out of it. Don't remember how to DaVinci at all. How far were we into this? Come on. What is your opinion on the CIA? So you have to agree. It seems pretty obvious, though, as of today, that a military operation is pretty imminent. Now, whether it's legal or not is a different question. Whether it's legal or not, I would say, is not even a question. This is an illegal act by the president. Okay, there's Trevor. God damn it. But Neil the Legend, welcome in. Welcome to Know Nothing Attorney. We're toying around with like editing some footage from some previous a previous debate, and then a previous breakdown of a PragerU video we did a couple nights ago. Evil Alien Robot is still sitting here patiently awaiting his first opportunity to see a debate. Yeah, definitely actual war crimes were committed. And it's pretty sickening how many people on the right will defend it to just be like, well, I think it's okay. That doesn't make it legal, dude. How do you think standards work? Thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for just listening. Like I said, I wasn't expecting an answer, and I appreciate you just taking the call or whatever.
Well, I mean, I hope it was a beneficial experience for you. I hope it was worth calling in. And I hope you stick around.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, I'll see you around, man.
Thanks, Search for IQ. And if you find your way back to Twitch, be sure to find me on the Twitch channel. That's where most of our chat happens.
Banned from Twitch, so I'll find you on YouTube.
Damn. All right.
All
Peace
right,
out.
have a good night.
You too. Okay. Now, what is the correct key? B. B is the correct key. Cool. Whew. Didn't have to do that again. I probably should have looked at the timestamp before I did that again, but we're all right. Look at me wearing my plain white tee for another video upload. My first video of any substance in terms of length, I am wearing a nice new button-up, and now I'm just wearing a white t-shirt. The CIA is an executive branch organization. I'm pretty sure you can conduct acts of war without using official military personnel. What do you mean, what jurisdiction does the CIA operate under? Do you mean, like, what statutory law? Yes, the executive branch controls the CIA. There are 3 branches of government. The CIA falls under the executive branch. Now, certain agencies are intended to operate independently, but we no longer have that standard anymore thanks to the current president. I don't know. Let's find out. Interesting question. Welcome to Know Nothing Attorney, where we have no shame in saying that we don't know something, and we are happy to look it up. We're happy to show people how to educate themselves on things. And SCOTUS like the DOJ? What? Huh? What do you mean, Maddie? I really don't care if something awful is legal. I'm not going to nitpick what's legal if it's horrible. Right. We can start with what's legal, and then if it's legal and we can agree that it's legal, then we can argue whether it should be legal. Well, Neil DeLegend, that's because historically the CIA has been treated as an independent organization. The executive is not supposed to involve themselves in the operations of the CIA or the FBI. But under unitary executive theory, which is a theory that the current president now operates under, thanks to Project 2025, that's no longer a thing. And what's really shitty is as soon as a Democrat is president again, it will be a thing. And because the Republicans made it not a thing, the Republicans will just assume that the Democrats are also doing it. There is no winning. Oh, the CIA operates under SCOTUS? Well, evil alien robot, it's just a shortcut to be like, we don't even have to talk about this if I can prove to you that it's illegal, because now what leg do you have to stand on? If we're gonna have a moral debate, then there's the thing with a legal debate. Excuse me. The thing with a legal debate is that you can prove something. With a moral debate, you can't prove anything. You can just get down to, well, to me, you're a monster. That's it. Oh, you're saying thanks to the Supreme Court? Yeah, I mean, but like the current Supreme Court is also thanks to that president, and also if it weren't for the president, then the Supreme Court wouldn't be doing that. But I'm not opposed to the American people being told what the CIA is doing. I quite support it, actually, but it does seem like Trump put CIA operatives at risk by disclosing that they carried this out, unless they're already out of the country. Hey, you know a thing that I just remembered thanks to Neil DeLegend? Under Trump's presidency, didn't we lose a list of CIA operatives and then have the, or not operatives, CIA assets, and then have the largest loss of CIA assets in history? That's alarming. Okay, let's do stream 1231. We're live, looking for the statutory, god dang it, statutory authority under which the CIA operates. So, back to my usual spiel. On this channel, we don't pretend that people are not going to use AI. We hoped to model appropriate ways to use AI. We are not going to, especially in a situation where a claim is contested, we're not going to look to the AI and assume that its answer is correct. We are going to look for sources. We're going to ask the AI for sources. And if not directly for sources, usually we're going to ask it for a research plan. and then we can carry out a plan in that way by looking at sources. So first thing we're going to do is ask for sources, and then we're going to look at those sources ourselves. This is a reminder, as always, that AI is not a search engine. AI is a sycophant. It only wants to make you happy. It does not want to give you accurate results. Neil the Legend is a Republican, and I think he's kind of a bumbling idiot. Hey, classical Republican. Welcome to a extreme minority, my guy. He quite needs someone to tell him to shut up. I'm afraid that ship has sailed, Neil the Legend. You don't have a party anymore. I would encourage you to consider leftism. I would be happy to discuss with you anything that you disagree on. And on this channel, we don't tend to get aggressive. As you'll notice in the box above me, I offer debates or casual chats. So if you're ever curious about just like understanding a lefty opinion from a person who tends to actually look into stuff, you know, I hate to say from an educated person, but I mean like a person with a degree and a license, who knows legal shit. I'm happy to talk about that with you. I would like to know why you are still on the right, considering that that's where I used to be. Okay, CIA statutory authority. Let's fix our box here. Ick. No, all kinds of ick. Stop it. Cover up our Da Vinci box. Never had a party. I disagree with the left on gun control pretty majorly. You know, it's funny that you say that, because do you differentiate between the common moral leanings of a side and common political leanings of a side? Because most lefties don't, I mean, most lefty politicians don't have a political leaning on gun control. Like, not gun removal. Like, maybe, like, I mean, what's wrong with having a licensing course like you would have for a car? Like, that's probably the most extreme I would hear from most lefty politicians. So I don't know who you're disagreeing with when you say that. Because I had a bunch of veterans on here Christmas on the night of Christmas, and they, even though I didn't have it as a debate topic, they wanted to talk to me about the Second Amendment, and I was like, I mean, I don't have a political stance on like ending the Second Amendment. I have a personal stance that I would like it if everybody got rid of their guns, but I'm not here to push for that because I know that that's not really a winning issue in America. Has that happened with cars? And let me say one insane thing for the NRA. The NRA would never let monstrous shit like that happen. Hooray for the NRA for that one minor thing. The NRA got upset about the trans rights issue with the Second Amendment. And if we're not worried about transgender people losing their right to own guns, who are we worried about? Was a Russian front. What do you mean the NRA finally started doing anything? We have an individual right to bear arms because of the NRA. That was made up by them. The NRA succeeded at fundamentally changing what the Constitution meant. Heller, evil alien robot, they succeeded at the Heller opinion in 2008. Yeah, being a conservative minority is wild. Except that, conservatives are the minority. That's why they have such a stick up their butt, is because they oppress minorities, and they're like, and we are one. Imagine what could happen. They didn't have the Second Amendment right on their building. Maddie, can you share? Can you share? That sounds amazing. Well, in short, Neil the Legend, former Chief Justice Warren Burger was asked in an interview in the early 90s about his opinion on the push from special interest groups for an understanding of the Constitution that there is an individual right to keep and bear arms. And he said it is one of the greatest frauds on the American people. Former Chief Justice Warren Burger said that. It was not a common theory in the 80s. It became a common theory in the 90s. And then in 2008, in the Supreme Court opinion Heller, the Supreme Court just ignored shit. The majority just ignored shit. Like a vast array of evidence provided in friend of the court briefs showing that keep and bear arms was a term of art, which means like it was a specific legal term when it was used in legal context to refer specifically to a militia that is regulated by the states. That is what it meant. And then Scalia found a couple of pieces of evidence of it being used different ways, and then used those as his evidence. He used the incredibly small minority of uses as his evidence of the intended use of the phrase keep and bear arms. Just bullshit. Just bullshit. But you can't get rid of it now, because the left doesn't get rid of people's rights. In your opinion, where the pro-gun people fail is when they bring up hunting in defending the Second Amendment. Based on your understanding of the Second Amendment, it's pretty objectively to have a purpose to fight the government if need be. No, that's made up too. The militia is intended to defend the state meaning the federal government, because it is the federal government that the Bill of Rights is referring to when not referencing the states. The state is the nation, and the Constitution talks about the right of the federal government to mobilize the militias to protect the nation. George Washington put down a militia rebellion. It is not intended to fight the federal government. And we talked about this a few nights ago. To think that that is the purpose is living in fantasy land. And it is also not even the best way to fight a tyrannical government, especially in America. And this is just me harping on my personal opinion. This is what this channel is for. I'm here to advocate for a constitutional convention. A constitutional convention is the best way to fight a tyrannical government in America, because we have set ourselves up in such a way that the states, if they want to, if they were able to band together to do it, could just erase the federal government and make a new one on a whim. If they just wanted to do it. The federal government wouldn't even have to consent. Saying gun control is bad for minorities sounds straight out of Fox News. It genuinely sucks to hear the right weaponize fake sympathy for people who they intentionally harm. Is the militia not the people? That was my understanding of the word militia. No, the militia, as it is understood in the Constitution, is talking about a body regulated by the state. Now, the states can mobilize any able-bodied man in the state, man of a certain age, but it is an organized force of the state. Is he really? Oh my gosh. I'm touched right now. He's really excited to shut me down on the Constitutional Convention. I better have my talking points ready. He should send people to watch my video as homework. Okay, CIA statutory authority. Primary source, National Security Act of 1947. What were we using for CIA purposes before the CIA? The Constitutional Convention isn't a terrible idea, to be honest. The Constitution needs some fixing. Damn right it does. Because if you watch my YouTube video, my current only actual video, not a short, I've got a 30-minute video out there where I talk about why it's needed and why it's the only way to fix shit. And in short, my conclusion is that we're dealing with a Hydra problem. We are dealing with a monster with way too many heads to fight them all. When you cut them off, the monster doesn't die. It is just replaced with someone else who will do the same thing until you actually fix the problem. And the only way to win is to change the rules. You are not going to fight. You're not going to win the fight by fighting a conventional fight. You have to change the rules entirely. And we have given, like, our founders gave us a way to change the rules, and we can do that. Stop fighting a normal fight. It is useless. OSS. Damn, Maddie up here with the knowledge all the time. Maddie puts me to shame. Come back. 3001. Specifically, section 3036. Give me... For real, yeah. Elections. I mean, I would, if we're still dealing with Trump at the time, it's my personal opinion that we need to put a freeze on the powers of the executive branch until we all agree what we want the executive branch to be again. We need to take the military out of the hands of the executive, put it in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, put it under the guidance of like which committee would that be under Congress? Put it under a congressional committee. We have to take power away from the executive branch right now, which is a super popular opinion, I know. Oh God, not one of these. I don't even remember why we're looking at this, but now I'm looking at it. I'm sorry, where is section 3036? Section 3035, Central Intelligence Agency. There is... Oh, let me fix this. God damn. Too much space. That's not even going to be legible. It's all right, it can overlap stuff for a second here. There is a Central Intelligence Agency. I love when laws are phrased that way. That's so funny. Ranked choice voting would do wonders, and it is the only way that we could get ranked choice voting. We need local movements to push for a constitutional convention. And then you need to hold those the people elected through those local movements to the standards set by the local movement for a constitutional convention, and then push for ranked choice voting. That way we don't have to worry about party involvement. We don't even have to do ranked choice, just make it so congressional delegation is voted on by the voting proportion of a state. So if a state voted 45% Democrat, 55% Republican, you give out seats according to that. I mean, I don't care how you want to do it, just, like, fix it. Take away, like, the horrible incentives that are created by a bipartisan system. I'm open to all sorts of ideas. Yeah, you know, a fun What was the example that I was thinking of? Damn. I mean, we could have 11 branches of government if we wanted to. I don't know that that's like an effective way to do things. We could reorganize it, like the distribution of power in the legislative branch. We could have a different number of houses. We could make a prime minister if we wanted to. We could have a like oh gosh, what was it? Like a Polish standard, which I've also heard has had its own issues, but like have executive power shared by the president and the prime minister. And be astounded to learn what basic ideas you agree with are considered moderately left, and how people have led you to believe they're extreme when they're not. Well, evil alien robot, all like 3 things. I would happily take ranked choice. I would happily take something better than ranked choice. And I would happily take something not as good as ranked choice if it fixes some of our problems and means we get some kind of solution if ranked choice is off the table. I think industry needs its own branch of the government to guarantee efficiency and workers' rights. I think the administrative state needs to be its own branch of government. I don't know necessarily how to apply that. I think the idea of a what's the word I'm looking for? The idea of a media, like there needs to be a branch of government, or not needs to be, but I'm considering the idea of a branch of government that is involved in media honesty, media balance, keeping money, like keeping corporate interests out of media, or at least having some like managed independent media. There are definitely dangers involved with that. I'm just trying to figure out if there is a good way it could be done. I would need to learn more about the structure of the BBC before I could say yes or no to that. There should be at least one House seat per 100,000 people. That's so incredibly easy, yet we don't do it. Just build a new capital to house them. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I want to know what Neil thinks about DEI. So, wait, where? House seats. Oh, yeah, we definitely need more representation for fewer people. Because now government is just out of the people's hands. People feel disenfranchised. They don't feel represented by their representative. We need like more representatives for fewer people so people know who their representative is. But you still call yourself conservative. What is your opinion on DEI? What is your opinion on abortion? What is your opinion on transgender rights? What is your opinion on workers' rights? What is your opinion on systemic racism? Okay, but I want to make sure we understand. DEI, you prefer them to be qualified. Does DEI mean they're qualified or not qualified? Neil the Legend, you'd be a conservative to deny it. I mean, dude, I hate to break it to you. My dad is a classical Republican never Trumper. He does not believe systemic racism exists. Until you point out a specific example he cares about, and then he'll agree it exists, except it doesn't exist outside of the specific example. And then they have selective amnesia. I want music back. Notwithstanding the provisions of any other law, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency may, in the discretion of the director, terminate the employment of any officer or employee of the Central Intelligence Agency, whether the director deems the termination of employment of such officer or employee necessary or advisable in the interest of the United States. Hold on. The director of the Central Intelligence Agency shall serve as the head of the Central Intelligence Agency and carry out the responsibilities specified in subsection D. There is a director of Central Intelligence Agency who shall be appointed by the president by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. What about removal power? Any termination of employment of an officer or employee. Dude, Norton, would you stop? Any termination of employment of an officer or employee under paragraph 1 shall not affect the right of the officer or employee to seek or accept employment in any other department, agency. Okay. But what about removal of the director of the CIA? The director of the Central Intelligence Agency shall collect intelligence through human sources and by other appropriate means, except that the director of Central Intelligence Agency shall have no police, subpoena, or law enforcement powers or internal security functions. Correlate and evaluate intelligence related to the national security and provide appropriate dissemination of such intelligence. Provide overall direction for and coordination of the collection of national intelligence outside the United States through human sources by elements of the intelligence community authorized to undertake such collection and in coordination with other departments, agencies, or elements of the United States government which are authorized to undertake such collection. Ensure that the most effective use is made of resources and that appropriate account is taken of the risks to the United States and those involved in such collection, and perform such other functions and duties related to intelligence affecting the national security as the President or the DNI may direct. This does not help me. Huh. Well, I'd have to research that further. Neil the Legend, you're losing me here, buddy. Fiscal conservative. Fiscally conservative means you're on the left. I hate to break that to you. Neil the Legend, you need to spend some time looking into the history of the economy under Republican administrations. Republicans, people who call themselves political conservatives, are not fiscally conservative. They simply are not. They also have no interest, and this is probably part of fiscal conservatism, they have no interest in the long-term resilience of the stability of our economy. They know that all the damage that they do will be sought to be mitigated by the left every time they do it. So that means they can do it without concern. Every single time they want to take money away from the people by giving it to the wealthy. That's what tax breaks are about. Every single time. That's what deregulation is about. Every single time. Every time it's about worsening the lives of the common people and enriching the wealthy. And it fucks our economy every time. Okay. Well. Not much of a disguise. It's like if I went around saying that I was Charles Manson and then I didn't do anything that Charles Manson did. Okay. Keep using gender-neutral pronouns because I didn't know whether you were. Time to shut this up again.
Yeah, I get that. So.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't accusing you of not understanding that. I just do hear that on debate content sometimes. People are like, "Why would you need to know my pronouns?" I'm like, it's literally helpful. Like,
oh, I think.
Okay. And then I debate this guy.
Supremacist, anti-Semite. That's what he is.
That's what the Nazi said.
Agreed on it. You
Man,
literally agreed that
you
femininity...
like literally cannot strong.
Oh
God,
you already agreed on it.
You can't steel man my position. Strong man my position.
Let me speak for 5 seconds, and you'll see how you're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
You
can try one more time.
You
can try one more time.
People watching, just go back, man. Yeah, you can see that I talked to this guy about like the femininity stuff, and he said, yes, Tim. Basically, the only difference between the gender stuff and femininity is that the gender stuff is like heavy core things that you care about, that you think really make you a woman, in comparison to the femininity that's just like minor, unimportant bullshit. That's all you said. It's still femininity.
No, you're missing the last important part of that.
I care a lot about this. Yeah, you didn't say anything else, really.
No, I did.
Okay, say it then.
You're missing the part where the things that
let me guess. It's a social category. That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you missed you. So you do know it.
Yeah.
You do know it. You're just
That
approaching it
social
dishonestly every time.
Isn't independent from this. This is like
you do know it. You're just approaching it dishonestly every time.
Based on this shit that makes the category. You understand?
Except
the social category
not
of
true.
chair isn't separate from
you already
what makes
proved that
something
that's
chair.
not true. You proved it yourself.
What do you...
Neil, are you being real? You're a supporter of completely eliminating the federal income tax. Why would you be against the federal income tax? Wait, you're a supporter of eliminating it, which is probably a leftist position? That is not a leftist position. Why would you be against an income tax? The income tax is literally, it's socialist in nature. Then you're not opposed to tax. You're not opposed to the income tax. You just need to change what the tax brackets are. Or if you're just literally opposed to the act of taking your money away, it's not your money, dude. You didn't earn all of the value in that. I hate to break that to you. The people earned a lot of that money, and you need to give it back, or you are stealing from the people. I mean, it could just be that Neil makes a bunch of money and hates that it's taxed multiple times. That's possible. But if you're just mad that you're being taxed too much on the low end, well, thank the Republicans for that. Like, what do you think would happen if we got rid of the federal income tax? What would we do? Have a sales tax? A regressive tax? Okay, then what is your problem with taxation? You don't believe what? That their parents are Democrats? If they're a college student, dude, then this is an age where it's very possible for them to be a conservative with Democrat parents. Do you not know how radicalized the youth are? Yeah, thank you. I am right. It's very important that I'm right about everything. By the way, I'm just going to mention for a second. Looks like Maddie passed out. I'm going to mention for a second that I just love this debate topic. You believe it? Oh, this can go away. I love the debate content. You believe in gender, or sorry, the debate topic. You believe in gender. Yeah, you do. It's so triggering to people. Makes them so mad. Oh, hi, Maddie. Usually when you're awake, you post a lot more. Ooh, what were you playing, Maddie? Did I know you play? There's a problem with calling yourself a libertarian, Neil the Legend, in that today it doesn't mean anything. No, evil alien robot. Libertarian doesn't mean anything. Two is so good. Because the founders were libertarians. Libertarians believed in liberal values. But now right-wing libertarians just use it as a euphemism. So now when you say libertarian, it's hard to even know what you mean, and even among the right wing, it's hard to know what you mean. This is how I know Billy Blee is not right wing. Because the right wingers love to say the Nazis were socialists. Telltale Games. It doesn't make sense because you know what it is, and it's a stupid opinion. It's a stupid opinion. I can't play Telltale Games because I miss having a game. But I don't mind visual novels though. But see, that's not true either. I need my visual novels to have a game component. Or at least feel like I have a game component. And I don't feel... Stream and play. I've done a little bit of that. I think I've done that on 2 streams. I did a little Dispatch and I did a little Deltarune. Someday I might need to just stream the entire Metal Gear series because then I'll be having a good time. No, evil alien robot, because libertarians want liberty. But what does liberty mean? Libertarians can want government if government helps increase the amount of liberty. It's dumb. It's just such an abused word. Okay. Hey, Neil. Socialism. Let's just go there. Socialism. Oh, I didn't get to the end of this. Oh, let's see if I need to go back to the category, the example of the men wearing dresses.
Yeah, the man wearing a dress is still a man.
Oh,
right.
damn. My mic really caught that knuckle crack.
Yeah.
Okay. Yikes. So that's a cultural aspect. That's part of your schema on what a man is.
People shouldn't die. Does it now mean that a corpse isn't a person? Like, what the fuck?
What? God, he's so dumb.
Because people should live.
Dude, you keep jumping to like the conclusion of the thing. I'm not saying anything about the man wearing a dress. I'm talking about the man, whether or not the man should wear a dress. That's what you're categorizing.
Yeah, but you're implying that that means that's what makes him a man.
All right, fuck this. I can't do this shit anymore. Oh my god. I can't. So you're saying that the fact that he should wear a dress, that he should not wear a dress, is part of what makes him a man. Right, but if he wears a dress, that doesn't make him not a man. I'm not saying that, dude. I'm just saying that you think he should not wear a dress because he's a man. The should is the part we're worried about, not the weather. God. God damn. Oh, yeah, Maddie, you may have missed that while you're playing a video game. I already hit on that one. So on guns, are you opposed to regulation? Ew, border control. All right, now you need to jump up in voice chat and fucking support that stance. I'm going to invite you up here. We're going to talk. Can you join the Discord? Can we talk about the border in a friendly way? I know that I came in hard on that, but I'm not coming in hard at you. I'm coming in hard at, like, we got some shit to talk about. Maddie's so fucking woke. Laws are just threats, guys. That's how woke I am. Hell yeah, let's do it, Neil. Maybe you can be our first, like, friendly debate content. Not strictly debate content, but... Alright, so that was Tim. I gotta go to fucking bed. Because that was exhausting. Where's the right place to stop this? Tiring. Tim, you're welcome to complain in chat. That's fine. It was just... ugh. I can't go in another fucking loop again, trying to explain the same thing, and then you acting like you didn't catch the difference, and then you coming back around to saying that they are the same thing, except for the thing that you would claim to be the difference, Austin. Yeah, so you do understand what the difference is. I'm tired of that shit. It's old. Dress. I'm talking about the man...
That means...
fucking bed. Because that was exhausting. Whew. That's the spot. That's where I cut it. So how long of a video are we looking at here, guys? Jesus Christ. Austin, what did you spend your time doing, my guy? This is a 3-hour debate. Hop up in the voice chat. Go in the waiting room and I'll bring you up. Maddie, am I okay to open this? I'll upload it. I'll be like, No Nothing has way too long of a gender debate for his own good. But then we'll make a fun short out of it. 1 second, Neil. What is Maddie getting us into?
This, Your Majesty, is Rupert, our young editor.
How do you do, Rupert?
How do you do?
Sit down. And what's that you're reading?
Karl Marx.
Surely you're not a communist.
Do I have to be a communist to read Karl Marx?
Rupert.
That's a valid answer. Well, if you're not a communist, what are you?
Nothing.
I'm a child.
I dislike all forms of government.
Yeah, 1 second, Neil.
And I don't like the word rule.
Well, if we don't like the word rule, let's call it leadership.
Leadership in government is political power, and political power is an official form of antagonizing the people.
What magazine did you say he edits?
A commentary on current events.
Pardon me, Lester. But, my dear young man, politics are necessary.
Politics are rules imposed upon the people.
In this country, rules are not imposed. They are the wish of all free citizens.
Travel around a bit, then you'll see how free they are.
Yes, but you didn't let me finish.
They have every man in a straitjacket, and without a passport, he can't move a toe.
But if you'll allow...
This kid is great. He is nailing this. What a great child actor. He's amazing.
In a free world, they violate the natural rights of every citizen.
But you don't let me...
They have become the weapons of political despots.
Editing error.
And if you don't think as they think, you're deprived of your passport.
Will you allow me
to leave a country is like breaking out of jail.
Yes,
and to enter a country is like going through the eye of a needle.
But
am I free to travel?
Of course you're free to travel.
Only with a passport.
Will you allow me to say something?
Only with a passport. Do animals need passports?
Have you finished?
It's in Congress that in this atomic age of speed, we are shut in and shut out by passports.
If you'll shut up and let somebody else talk...
And free speech, does that exist?
No, you've got it all.
And free enterprise.
We were talking of passports.
Today it's all monopoly.
All right. Now will you
Can I go into the automobile business and compete with the Auto Trust?
If I can get in a word.
Not a chance. Can I go into the grocery business and compete with the chain stores?
Will you shut up?
Not a chance. Monopoly is the menace of free enterprise. As I look back 60 years ago.
Where were you 60 years ago?
Am I missing a punchline at the end? I want to move on. Oh, okay. Neil, what's going on?
What's up?
Give me 1 second to organize my shit. Let's put that away. Let's put that away. Yeah, Da Vinci, put that away. Then... need a new document. Soon I will have all of my shit together so that I will have a document ready, or at least like some kind of form to fill in when I start talking to people, and I won't have to do this every time. Forgive me, I would still consider myself fairly new. I've been doing this about a month, so still figuring my things out. So we got, I assume Neil is your real name? I mean, or the name you want to go by? This is the name you want to go by?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Age and pronouns?
He, him.
And age?
21.
And then I'm going to change what we're talking about. With, where is it? Okay. This time I'm going to try to remember to ask my questions. First off, I assume that based on our conversation before the call that you would rather have a casual chat than a debate on this topic.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that. We're friendly here. I'm all about talking to people on the other side without it being a fight. So we both agree that there's not going to be any winning to be had in this conversation. There's just the pursuit of truth on both sides, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, modern ASL. What's my next question? Okay, usually I ask this one last, I think, but have you taken the time to define your own epistemology?
What do you mean by epistemology?
Your system for knowing what is true and what is false. How do you gain knowledge?
By research, I'd say.
And like, do you have a system for like how to discern what is bad research, what is good research?
Checking their sources.
Okay. Would you consider it to be a fair statement of a consistent and valid epistemology to say hold no position until you have sufficient evidence to justify one, and then hold that position until you have sufficient evidence to override it, at which point you must override it?
Yes.
Cool. Love that. No, I will respond. Good night, Maddie. Love having you here. Okay. And then my last question, gonna get personal here because I like to get one-on-one, and you're welcome to ask me anything. I'm an open book. I will talk to you about anything. Personal question, what would you consider your core moral value? What should we as a people pursue?
What should we as a people pursue? I'd
And
say
that those may be two different questions to you. I don't know.
probably absolute as much liberty as possible. If that
And would
makes
you
sense.
say, if you could give the aggregate more liberty by diminishing the liberty of a specific group, would that be justified to you?
No.
Okay, so egalitarianism is in there too.
So I would say if you gain liberty by taking liberty away from somebody else, you didn't gain anything at all.
I love that point of view. That is something that I have had to point out to our extreme right friends on the channel. We have some of those, surprisingly. I try to point out that once you start creating in-groups, then there is no such thing as a secure in-group. In-groups create in-groups create in-groups. So you're never safe if you have a system that is based on in-groups. So yeah, that's valid. Cool. So just as since we're recording this and everything is always a VOD, Neil and I and the chat were talking a little bit before Neil hopped up. Neil came in saying that he considers himself a Republican without a party, or conservative without a party, because things have gone too far. If I'm paraphrasing, that MAGA doesn't represent conservatism. I would go as far as to say MAGA is not conservative; it's extremist. And then we started discussing specific topics, and Neil landed, I don't know if this is a final position, but you landed on the things that you are most right on is the Second Amendment, or just gun ownership. And because on this channel, we don't believe that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual right to keep and bear arms. But you also, the other position was border control. So can you explain to me what you feel is justified about the right-wing position on border control?
I would say deportations are justified to an extent. I would say that deporting people who have not committed crimes is unjustified, but deporting people who have committed crimes is justified. And expanding on that point, that's once they get into the country, but before they're in the country, I think it's justified to build a stronger network to keep illegal immigrants from coming into the country, while at the same time, I would support making the process to get into the country legally a more efficient system, because now it takes upwards of 5 years, and it's just unrealistic to expect people to wait 5 years if they're trying to escape a potentially hostile or dangerous situation to where their life is in danger in another country.
Okay. Um, so you were saying, but before crossing, you could turn anyone away who hasn't. What was your position on before crossing? I was still catching up.
Before crossing, you go after like the systems of how people get into our country illegally, whether that's international or foreign criminal organization that's helping them get into the country, like I don't know, the cartels.
Okay. Now I'm curious. What is your feeling on asylum seekers?
Asylum seekers should be allowed. Like if, for example, if someone's escaping war in Ukraine, or if they're from the Middle East and Israel's actively bombing their country, we should allow them to seek asylum in the United States.
Okay. What about someone who, like, you haven't considered their cause, but they come in and they claim asylum based on a cause?
What do you mean a cause?
To be like, what do you know about the politics in Uruguay?
I know absolutely nothing about the
Okay.
politics in Uruguay.
Somebody comes in and claims that they are part of a discriminated group in Uruguay and they are afraid for their lives because of it.
I'd say if it's able to be validated by any one of our foreign intelligence agencies that watches basically everyone in the world, then we should let them in.
And what do you do while somebody's validating the claim? Where does that person go?
I'd say you allow them to seek temporary asylum in one of our many allied nations, such as Canada.
What is Canada going to do?
They would basically stay there until they can enter the United States.
But you're expecting Canada to accept someone that you didn't want to accept?
I'd say we wouldn't want to accept them. It's just we won't accept them yet.
Right, but what is different about Canada's position than ours?
There really isn't one. I don't know if you'd want to let them into the country yet.
What is your concern though?
If they're telling the truth or not.
Okay, even if they're not telling the truth, like, do you think we don't have? Oh, like, do you know what the rate of people who show up to their court hearings is?
I do not know.
If I recall correctly, and chat can challenge me on this, or you can challenge me on this if you want me to look it up, but I believe it's over 90%. If people are given a court date, they show up. They don't want to be removed.
That's honestly surprising to me. But
Okay.
It makes sense.
Do you want to research it right now, or do you just want to keep having the conversation? We can look at that later. I can make a note.
We can keep having a conversation.
I'll make a note. If that rate is that high, do you have an issue with them staying here?
No.
Okay. That's fair. Do you know how most people, I'm just feeling out what your mental space is in the border control world. So I'm just asking a bunch of random questions about stuff that I know about. I know tend to be issues. Do you know? Do you know how the majority of drugs get into the country?
I would assume through um, planes and ground smuggling um, patterns, I guess.
Do you know
I'd
by whom?
assume through our ports of entry and through the southern border.
Do you know by whom?
The cartels, and I've seen this, but I don't necessarily believe it. China.
Actually, the answer is U.S. citizens.
Okay.
The majority of illegal drugs are brought across the border by U.S. citizens through ports of entry.
That's not surprising.
Do you know how the majority of non-legal residents get to America?
Ports of entry.
Well, that's true. Do you know anything about the situation of the majority of them? Actually, the majority of newcomers for the past 10 to 15 years. Because I don't know how far back that claim goes.
I'd assume they fly in.
They fly in. Do you know anything about... Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's true. Do you know anything else about them?
Like where they come from?
If they're flying in, are they arriving illegally?
No.
No. So do you know what I'm gunning for here?
I'm not quite sure where you're taking this.
Most of them came legally. And like Elon Musk overstayed. Elon Musk was here illegally because he followed the same path that the majority of non-legal residents followed. Okay. But as you said, deporting people who have not committed crime, you feel it's not justified. So, hey, fun fact, the majority of non-legal residents in the United States haven't committed a crime, at least those that have arrived within the last 10 to 15 years, because overstaying your visa is not a crime. Fun fact, let me ask this, is crossing the border illegally a crime?
I would say yes.
Do you know what kind of crime?
I believe there's a statute for it, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Would you guess whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony?
I know it's a misdemeanor.
Okay, cool. Again, just feeling out the space. If you feel like I'm just unfairly quizzing you, that's fine. I want to get an idea of where your head's at. Evil alien robot in chat. It is a civil offense to overstay a visa. It is not a crime. Crossing the border illegally is a crime. The first time is a misdemeanor. If you do it more than once, it's a felony, if I recall correctly.
Also, I would say just doing that crime does not justify deportation in my mind. I would say if you commit a felony level crime while you're in the US illegally, at that point you should be deported.
Yeah, that's fair. I also think it's kind of bullshit when people go, "What do you mean they commit less?" I mean, I assume you are aware of the statistic that immigrants, even illegal immigrants, commit proportionately less crime than your average American citizen. I think it's really bullshit when people bring up the point, "What do you mean they commit like proportionally less crime? They already committed a crime." It's like, yeah, but like, not that we care about. This is not like a moral thing necessarily. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, my favorite point to raise is like, well, they did it illegally. They're not here legally. I'm like, okay, make them here legally. Now what?
Yeah.
Just do it. Okay, so then, we touched on crime rate. We touched on the majority of them, like, are here because they were living here. What do you think? There's oh God, what's expedited removal? Obama deported a lot of people under expedited removal. Expedited removal focuses, it gives the executive branch more power to do less to meet the standards of due process. And during Obama's administration, expedited removal was limited to within, I want to say, 100 miles of the border. And maybe that's too far. Oh, evil alien robot in chat. Overstaying your visa is not a crime. It is a civil offense. But those are two different things. And then crossing the border illegally the first time is a misdemeanor. If you do it more than once, I believe it's a felony. But so Obama, in short, Obama's administration limited it to people who were near the border and who had been here for less than 2 years. And Trump, with an executive order, greatly broadened the extent of expedited removal to, I think it's anywhere in the country, and anywhere, is it, somebody check me, I want to say less than 15 years. Give me your thoughts on expedited removal limitations. If somebody's been here for 5 years, if somebody's been here for 10 years, well, I mean, I guess you already think it's unjustified if they haven't committed a crime, so what's the point in raising that? Now I've just gone on a tangent for no reason. But like, before I get around to the left versus right question, like, I want to make sure, like, I've got the whole thing covered so we can actually look at the whole picture. So go ahead.
Yeah. I would say, realistically, when you've been living somewhere past, I'd say about 1 year, you're already pretty well integrated in with how that society functions. I think it would be absurd to deport someone very quickly if they've been here anywhere longer than a year. I'd argue even 6 months back to wherever they originally are a citizen of. And completely avoiding due process is just downright un-American, if you ask me.
Thank you very much. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but one of my debate topics is, if you agree with the statement that they came here illegally so they don't deserve due process, then you don't know what due process means. Because my immediate response to you is, okay, you're an illegal immigrant. And they'd be like, no. I'm like, prove it. And they're like, well, I can. I'm like, no, you don't get the opportunity to. You're gone. You're an illegal immigrant. Sorry. No due process for you.
Yeah.
So that's why we have due process. Anyway, okay, let me see if there's anything else left to cover in this. Deportation, a crime, and you even pointed out that it's not all crimes, specific crimes, rape, murder, anything that, I mean, we could sit here and try to define what crimes, but we know what we mean. We just mean, like, the atrocious shit. Things that we think mean they are a potential harm to their communities. Is your average illegal immigrant a net benefit or a net cost to the economy?
If they're actively working, I would say a net benefit, and
We're talking about an average. We can talk about that in a second, but an average.
I'd say on average, yes.
Which?
They're a net benefit.
Correct. Now, if we start constraining things to, like, we're okay with people who are net benefits and we're not okay with people who are net costs, do you think we lose any people who are net benefits?
If we deport the people who are net costs?
Yeah.
Yes, because those people would be families of the people who are net benefits.
Exactly. So we prevent people who are potential benefits to our economy from coming here, and we lose them if, like, we kick out the people that they love. So
Yes.
okay, economy, crime. Okay, so which opinions here do you think are not left-leaning opinions?
I'd say when I said preventing, knocking out how people get here through illegal means, the small minority of people who are coming in without visas and just illegally coming into our country through like the border, that I would say isn't a left wing position.
Am I phrasing that okay?
Yes.
Do you think I think that?
Based on talking to you, no.
Do you think evil alien robot in chat thinks that?
That we shouldn't do that, I would say, I would agree. I would say that they think we should probably do that.
Okay. Do you have any idea why the left would want to prevent people from crossing illegally?
When I really think about it, I don't think they would be against that. But I do know from my interactions in
Hold on,
college.
let's work on one question at a time.
Okay.
Why would the left want to eliminate opportunities to cross the border illegally? Not saying that all the left does. I mean, like communists don't want like borders or whatever. I mean, I'm sure some communists do. It's not a universal thing, but if you don't believe in a state, then you don't believe in borders, so
Simply because people who are willing to overtly enter the country illegally could be at a higher chance of being a risk to our national security, and logically that should be stopped.
because the left and right shares an interest in security, right?
Yes.
We don't want to be in danger. We want to know who is coming if we can. If we don't catch them, then once we do catch them, then we're only concerned with whether they're a risk to us. Like, just stopping them at the border gives us the opportunity to do that before they arrive and have the opportunity to hurt us or someone.
Yes.
Eliminate opportunities. No, cross illegally. Evil alien robot, would you want to eliminate opportunities for people to cross illegally? Sorry, now I'm waiting on the chat to respond. Yeah, see, this is not an anti-left position. Okay, so now that you were wanting to talk about what I imagine is what you've heard about what the left allows to occur. So you go, whatever point you were about to bring up, you go for it.
Based on some of the media I've consumed, which when I think about it for more than 5 seconds, I know this is not true, that they want open borders.
Well, I'm glad that you already got there. The left wants open borders. I want more immigration because I believe in pluralism. I love pluralism. I think pluralism is a core ideal of America. But yeah, I don't want open borders. You know, let's have a nation where all criminals of the world can come. What? This is rightist propaganda. Evil alien robot wants to know what media you heard that from. No shame at all, just curious. But he thinks he can guess.
Shoot, I honestly don't remember. I know it wasn't a podcast. It was probably Fox News.
Faux news.
Yep, faux news.
Yeah, my initial guess was Joe Rogan. Now, we can just end that conversation there and say that's not a leftist position. But I mean, I can also point out that like, what was it? Joe Biden, the Biden administration with the massive number of crossings, or I don't even know if crossings is the right word, the massive number of encounters. Are you aware that when the right points to statistics about encounters, then that is talking about people met at the border, not people who have crossed the border?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a sign of somebody doing their job, actually. The higher the encounter rate, the higher, like, the more it seems like somebody's doing their job. Not necessarily coming from somebody who taught the LSAT, just like the fact that a statistic is high or a statistic is low doesn't necessarily mean that a policy is effective, because it could be worse or better if there was a different policy implemented. Which is, you know, what the right, like, best case example of, like, with the right loves to point to inflation during COVID. And it's like, okay, what did Biden do to cause that? And you can't get an answer. Best answer you can get is printing money, but then that isn't a good look, because Trump had way more debt spending. Trump also did the stimulus checks. Guess was Daily Wire or Tim Pool. Evil Alien Robot. It's a much better guess to say Joe Rogan, because more people watch Joe Rogan than any other person on the planet.
Honestly, I've watched like 2 Joe Rogan podcasts in my life.
What's super funny is my friend that stopped talking to me because I talked to him the weekend before the election, and I told him, like, your basically adoptive older brother is worried that you're about to vote for fascism, and he pressed me on that, and I talked to him about the fake electors plot that Trump pulled on January 6th. And after he told me, can you steel man his argument? I'm like, no, it's literally illegal, and there is no good way to frame it. He stopped talking to me after that. That sucks. Can't believe I lost a friend over that.
The 2 episodes I listened to were his one with RFK and
Ugh.
JD Vance.
Oh God. Oh God. Well, so this friend of mine tried to turn me on to Joe Rogan back in like 2013 or something. I think it went that far back. And like I started listening to it. I'm like, okay, he talks to a lot of interesting people. This is a interesting podcast. But then I think it was recently after he had like done ayahuasca, and he kept saying, I think every elected politician needs to have like a drug trip to be allowed to be a politician. I'm like, you don't have to say this every episode, dude. And that's how I stopped listening to Joe Rogan, which is completely different than the type of Joe Rogan that's going on now.
Yeah.
What does Neil think of Nick Fuentes and Candace Owen?
I will start with Nick Fuentes.
I imagine Neil doesn't like Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes is completely off the rails. He walks around.
I was worried I was about to do a spit take. Thank you for not making me do one.
He walks around and claims that he's America first. But realistically, I think he actually hates minorities. He wants things to go back to the way they were.
What a surprise.
1955. And
you mean when America was great? Make America great again. Make America great again. I mean, I wonder when they're talking about, right?
Yeah. And Candace Owens. I did not know much about Candace Owens before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, but now I think she probably needs some therapy because she cannot cope with him getting killed. Honestly.
I mean, that's
my opinion on her.
It's just right-wing grifter madness right now. Everybody's willing to do whatever they can to take that spot, to take that money. And meanwhile, the other side of the pie is the political influence. And it seems to me, this is my conspiracy theory, that the people, I don't even want to say the Trump administration, the people behind the Trump administration are trying to arrange a political marriage between J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. And I think that was on the table before the awkward hug on stage.
I have a different take on that. I think they're trying to set her up to be his vice president.
Dude, Usha's already falling out of the picture. Like, they've gotten way too eager with each other for it to just be a vice presidency.
I think that is because of the rise of the people who Nick Fuentes is radicalized.
For sure. But here's the other thing.
Immigrants at all costs.
Here's the thing. J.D. Vance is married to Usha. Does he win the election? J.D. Vance is unmarried. Does he win the election? J.D. Vance is married to Erica Kirk. Does he win the election? That last one is a much more of a maybe. But the problem is that J.D. Vance has no riz politically.
I'd say the only way he wins the election is in the first and second scenario.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think that people would like muster around, like, what if she was his first lady and the vice president?
That would just be so weird.
I mean, they're all about weird, aren't they? Doesn't it feel a little incestual in a way that MAGA would love?
I think Marco Rubio is most likely to be his VP.
I don't think he's even going to be the ticket. I don't think he gets that far.
How unpublic Marco Rubio is kind of worries me about what he's doing.
I don't know. I don't follow Marco Rubio at all. I don't know what's going on with him.
He's starting these wars that are happening, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good chance. Or Stephen Miller, or any number of people, or just Trump, because he hates the attention that he's getting and he wants different attention. Okay, but I wanted to hit on another point before we got off of the border. With the border, a lot of people like to point to Biden and be like, he had this massive number of people come over. And that is true. Whether it was encounters or crossings, I'm not sure. But they point to, I forget what section it is. I always forget what section it is. But there was a COVID-era law that just completely shut down the border. And they're like, he could have just renewed that. In the law, it's like to the discretion of the president or whatever. The issue with that is it's not to the discretion of the president. It's until the president determines that the health crisis is over. So you're either saying that Biden can use this law to claim there continues to be a health crisis and through that shut down the border, or he stops saying there's a health crisis and opens the border again. Now, open border doesn't mean open border. It just means people can cross like they normally do, going through the normal processes. But it was only because of a pandemic that it was completely shut down in the first place. And during that time, there was a massive congregation of people at the border waiting for their opportunity to come in, which was also a product of the Remain in Mexico policy. And so, there were a ton of people, but that's not on Biden. And he couldn't control it. And I listened to a debate earlier today that was like, the left always says that Trump, the president can't just shut down the border. Well, Trump did it with an executive order, so don't tell me he can't just do it. It's like, that isn't the way that American law is supposed to work. We are not supposed to allow the president to make law. That is not what he does. And even if he does that, doing it through an executive order only helps for 4 years. if you make it a law, it's so much harder to change. Making it a law allows people to make plans based on what the law is. Like,
Yes.
what laws are, like, the laws affect the stock market, like investments, everything depends on like what the laws are. If you make it an executive order, it can just change on a whim. And I want to repeat again, presidents are not supposed to make law. That is the job of Congress.
The executive orders have been abused during recent administrations.
They've been more than that. They've been insane.
Presidents have mostly abandoned working with Congress.
Well, Congress has abandoned, like, I'll say yes. And a responsible president would not use his power that way. The biggest problem is Congress has abdicated its responsibility for lawmaking by vesting that power in agencies. And then agencies technically fall under the executive branch, though they wield pseudo-legislative and pseudo-judicial power. But now we have vested pseudo-legislative and pseudo-judicial power under the president. And if you have executive or unitary executive theory, like this president like got into office on, suddenly you're saying, well, the president should have like plenary power, like infinite power over the agencies to do whatever he wants with. And that includes the pseudo-legislative and pseudo-judicial power that they wield. And so now he's just running amok, doing whatever the fuck he wants. And Congress is partly to blame for that, because if you give up all of your lawmaking power, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that, I was just gonna list like a couple executive orders, but like, the first one that comes to mind is trying to change the Constitution by executive order. That's insane.
Can't do that.
That's insane. Then not only the executive order, but also the National Security Presidential Memo. Oh, God, I want to say 73, but I may just be pulling that number out of my butt. The one that said the intelligence agencies are the intelligence apparatuses of the United States are able to use language that is anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-Christian, etc., as bases for looking into online people to determine whether they have been committing crimes. Like, that's insane. Absolutely insane.
That's absolutely insane. I would also say that the root of our government going down that rabbit hole's not the right word, but going down that path,
the slippery slope.
Our first mistake was ever allowing them to pass the Patriot Act. And that happened before I was even born.
Our first mistake, I will forever point to this thanks to Maddie, is the Taft-Hartley Act. 1940s, 1947. It was after the New Deal, corporations got upset, and then they passed the Taft-Hartley Act, which limited the actions that unions can take. And it has been the corporations trying to win the day back from the New Deal ever since. It has just been a whittling away of workers' rights and personal freedoms, all the way back to that. And I only point to that one because we had such a big win before that. Like, the New Deal was amazing, and it set America on a course to be the world superpower. And then everything has just been a fight against that ever since. I'm sure things, like, everything goes back to the Constitution. Okay, so I would say, based on everything you've told me, that you are a lefty when it comes to the border. How do you feel about that?
Based on what I've learned, I'd have to agree. I think my misunderstanding was what the two main sides of our political system's positions were on the border.
Right. And it's not your fault that you felt that way. That is the intentional design of the right-wing media apparatus. They say a bunch of stuff that is meant to be scary and is not true. Like all it would take to prove this to most people would be like, maybe ask a leftist, like, do you want dangerous people coming into the country all the time? No, I don't. Why would I want that? That is not a reasonable thing to think another person would want. So all that leaves you with is the Second Amendment, or your reading of the Second Amendment, I imagine, or at least what you think it should say. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because we already talked about it a little bit. But I don't want to like come into this conversation, say there's two main reasons you point to yourself being on the right and then not address the other one. First, let me ask if, and I think you've already made your decision on this. I think you made your decision on this in the chat before you hopped up. Is your position on gun rights enough to call yourself a conservative or a Republican based on your other positions?
I would call myself a pro-gun left-wing person now.
And you know there are plenty of those, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know Vosh is one for sure. Vosh loves his guns. I know, I'm pretty sure Jimmy Snow in my hometown, he's got guns.
Mm-hmm.
I know Texan leftists love their guns. I'm not a fan of it because I think it's pretty demonstrable that more kill sticks kill more people. Like Hassan too. Oh god. Why does Hassan have to keep coming up in my chat? Anyway. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a strictly right position to say that you want guns. Maybe it is enough to say that the only anti-gun positions are on the left, but I don't think it excludes you from being a leftist, especially if you're talking more moderate leftism.
That, honestly, because during the rise of Trumpian politics, there's right-wingers who want to take away guns for certain groups of people.
That's true too. That's a very good point. Trump tried to take guns away from trans people. That's pretty fucked up. And he tried to do it because it was a mental health concern, which you're not going to get the like mental health people to agree to that. Being trans is not a mental health disorder.
Compared to presidents who I think a lot of people would assume are anti-gun, like Barack Obama, Trump passed more gun legislation through forcing through a ban on bump stocks.
Yeah, the bump stock
Obama
ban
did in 8 years in office.
Yeah, that's a good point. Way to go. Well, Neil, can I call you our first convert?
Yeah.
All right, we got one. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. And you are welcome to come here anytime. I love that so much. And you know, if you have more thoughts about things that you have thought about, like as a right position, you're welcome to bring them back to me and we can talk about them some more.
Okay.
Do you feel like this was a fair and pleasant conversation?
Yeah, it was. Now,
Good.
will I be voting for Gavin Newsom in 2028? I don't know if I'm there yet.
Well, here, let me tell you this. This is not something I expected to talk about, but this is what I always tell people who are like feeling iffy about voting for a specific party or for a specific person. If you don't want to vote for a specific person, then I go, fine, don't do that. Put a tick mark on the box because of the party. You don't want to do that? Fine. I'm not super Democrat myself. I don't like a lot of what the Democrats do. If you don't want to do that, tick the box. You're not going to know this from what it says next to the box, but tick the box that is going to move the Overton window to the left. Do you know what the Overton window is?
Yes.
Okay. The Overton window is only going to move one of two directions. and you get to decide which way that moves. If you hate the person, if you hate the party, the Overton window will still move. And if the Overton window moves, then okay, it's a shitty election. I'm sorry. But in 10 years, it's going to matter that it moved. And hopefully you'll be alive in 10 years, or people you care about will be alive in 10 years, and it will matter that you moved the Overton window. That's what matters more than anything else.
Yeah,
so if Gavin Newsom's on the ticket, I hope you will vote for Gavin Newsom, not because he's Gavin Newsom and not because he's a Democrat, but because, as we've demonstrated today, you believe in left-wing positions, they're for egalitarianism, and they're for the common good. And I hope that you would move the Overton window to embrace those policy changes.
Mm-hmm. I'd say with how far the Overton window has moved, my positions 20 years ago probably would have actually been right wing.
Maybe. But we got to live in the world that we live in. I mean,
Yeah.
left and right only matters so much as where we stand in reference to the Overton window. So move it left, and then you and I can argue again in the future.
Okay.
And for now, we are unified in moving the Overton window to the left of where it is. Welcome to the left.
Yes.
Neil, would you like me, I always tell everyone that I'm proud of them. Would you rather me tell you that I'm proud of you as part of the sign off that I say to everyone, or do you want me to tell you that I'm proud of you right now to your face?
This is part of the sign off.
Sure. I understand some people don't want to be told that somebody's proud of them directly to them. That's fine. Well, thank you for being up, Neil. Hope to see you around in the chat more.
I will.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Okay. I'm going to switch over to just me. Thank you for being here this evening, everybody. It has been a pleasure having everybody in chat, and I promise that tomorrow I will be doing a daytime stream. And in that daytime stream, I will prioritize finishing up a couple of videos and releasing them so that we have more content on the YouTube channel and hopefully a way to create more engagement. Need to post things on TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff. But it was a great conversation tonight. I'm really happy that Neil came up. I really appreciate having Neil here. But for now, I'm going to do my sign off. Oh, I also wanted to say I am going to a New Year's party tomorrow night, so I don't expect that my stream will be at night. If I come home late after New Year's and I still feel like streaming, maybe I'll put another one up. Because, you know, me, I'm addicted to being up late. But I will stream during the day, and that might be our stream for tomorrow. But I will post on the Discord. Time to learn about the Overton window. You said you knew what the Overton window was. But yeah, you're welcome to look into the Overton window. Anyway, time for my sign off. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can learn anything. And that's what we're here to do. I'm here to learn with you, and I hope you're here to learn with me, and we can teach each other all sorts of shit. And as always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you personally for that to be real. You deserve to hear it, and it's true. At a minimum, because life is hard, it's always been hard, and it always will be hard. And the way you face each and every single day the way you do is remarkable. So stay remarkable, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night, everybody.